Leatherface is a grown man in the first movie.
I know.
And now he's an orphan.
Neal and Annabelle's dinner at a movie. Neal and Annabelle's dinner at a movie. Good food, good drinks, good friends, and good times. Good food, good drinks, good friends, and good times.
This is Nasty Neal.
This is Annabelle Lecter.
And this is Dinner.
And the movie.
Mm-hmm. And we're here to talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the third movie called that, but there's the original one's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where chainsaw is separated, and then there was the remake, which was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this is just Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Wow.
2000 version.
Yeah. Which is weird because it's playing off of the past. So straight off the bat, like, why even call it Texas Chainsaw Massacre if it's clearly referring to the first movie?
It's a direct sequel to the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah, well. The least of my worries in this review.
Yeah, that's a running theme in all these reboots, sequels, worlds. You know, I don't get it, but whatever. So the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Here we go from IMDb. After nearly 50 years of hiding, Leatherface returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town.
It just occurred to me. Now, before this review, we did another review for #Shakespeare's Shitstorm and commented about that it's clearly political in its ways. Now, having read that, I think that this movie, we don't have to focus entirely on this at the moment, it has a lot in common.
It does?
In terms of politics.
It does?
Mm-hmm.
In this one, they just get slaughtered.
But everybody gets slaughtered.
They do. Yeah, he doesn't care one way or the other, which I think is actually kind of the point of the movie. He doesn't give a shit.
I think you're right.
And I'm just going to say this. I know there are people who agree with me, but I do think I'm in the minority because I've seen a lot of total hatred for this movie. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun from beginning to end. It was nonstop kill, violence, and destruction, and I just had a fun time.
My Lord. Wow. I'm really amazed by your assessment of it, because I thought it was really bad.
I enjoyed it. It's now compared to the first one, it's not very good, but if you compare it to the last bunch, it's pretty fucking good.
There was just things about it that I thought were really not. Maybe I've just seen too many good movies lately.
We have seen a lot of them.
It's like tough because it's a hard follow-up to the stuff that we have been seeing for dinner movies.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not Antlers or Nightmare Alley. Last Night in Soho. No.
Yeah. No, but
I personally think it's what for me. If I want to watch a slasher movie, all right, yeah, let's just make a slasher movie. He's fucking killing everybody.
It's not even kind of scary though.
I mean, I don't get scared at movies, so
no, but it's
I'm
not
so
even
badass.
I don't know. There's no suspense really.
No, there isn't.
You know, and in horror movies, that's like an attempt at suspense, no matter, like, even in First Friday the 13th, who's the killer? Some people might guess, but it's mysterious and there's like a mystery. And in the original Texas Chainsaw, there's surprise, like being at the house is pretty fucking surprising.
Oh, yeah.
It's really surprising. Like, I'm not saying it does, like, to compare Texas Chainsaw versus Texas Chainsaw, but the idea of there being suspense in horror movies. And this
even the reveal of Leatherface in the first one, I think, is one of the greatest scenes in horror movies. It's, the door flings open. That actually is scary. That's a scary movie. And you actually really feel bad for I think Marilyn Burns, that's the best scream queen in films. You really believe that she's in terror, and you really I've seen actually people said that there's no character arc in the first movie, and there was too much character arc in this one, which I thought was a weird thing to even bring up. But I'm thinking like, well, the Marilyn Sally, she's clearly not friggin' batshit crazy out of her mind and terror at the beginning of the movie. It's quite a big arc from the opening scene.
I think that's a good point. I do. And it only takes place over what, a day? Like one full day?
Right.
So what kind of arc is there gonna, like, the person is gonna go from
right,
and functional to
right.
I will never recover. Well, in this new movie, she recovered.
Mm-hmm. Now, comparatively, first of all, I mean, I think sometimes it's unfair to compare. If I compared it, it's nowhere close to the original one. I do think that people have this tendency to fixate on Leatherface now, and they really abandon the family element, which I always think is a mistake because it's the family that's interesting. Leatherface by himself really isn't very interesting. I don't think there's really a lot you can do with him because he's just this crazy guy's killing everybody. So you compare the two, I don't think it works, but it's kind of like Psycho 2 to me. I really enjoy Psycho 2. Mm-hmm. Do I think it's anywhere near as good as Psycho? No, but I enjoy the movie. And do I think this is as good as original? No, but I think it's a very enjoyable slasher film if you're in the mood like I was at the time to watch a slasher film.
What do you think about the idea about the suspense part?
Oh, no, I totally agree with you with that. If I watch a slasher movie generally, I just kind of want to see some fun kills. And this movie delivers that for me.
I think that makes a lot of sense. I am not as interested in that, but I can see totally if someone wants to be in here for that, they will find it. Like there's some kills that are like that one dude whose mouth gets all fucked up.
Yeah.
Is so well done. Like it's really nauseating. I don't know if I've seen that done in that way look so realistic. Like it really makes his face into like a slab of meat. Like if you were to carve animal and it was just like disgusting and great. Yeah. But like other kills, what do you think? Do you think there was a lot of really good kills other than that? I think it's
very bloody. It's very gruesome. It's very gory. He kills. I assume he kills more people in this than he has in any of the other films.
Yeah, probably. Well, because there's a big group of people.
Yeah, and the boss, he just slaughters, tons of people.
Yeah, spoiler alert, a lot of people die.
I'll be honest, the storyline doesn't.
Viewing it. Yeah.
The storyline kind of takes a leap of faith on your part. Like, how did Leatherface is a grown man in the first movie?
I know.
And now he's an orphan? If someone has, it's fine. I'm not going to, I understand if you have it. I just kind of went with it and just kind of.
So he's in this, but there's a picture of so this orphanage, these what used to be called yuppies. These young urban people want to come into this ghost town in Texas and just revamp it and turn it into a bunch of, honestly, when they were talking about it in the beginning, I'm like, that would be really cool. Like we're going to take this ghost town and put in restaurants and coffee shops and you could have a comic store. And I'm like, this place sounds fantastic. But, so anyways, there is the particular building that a couple people, like the main characters, they're restaurateurs, and they're going to take this place and turn it into a restaurant. They go in it thinking there's no one there. Old woman is there. Old woman is the woman who ran the orphanage for however many decades. And she's, kind of like kooky and stuff. At some point you see a picture of a group of the kids from the orphanage, very old. And you clearly know which one Leatherface would be because his face is all scratched out and shit, and he's extra big. And so I'm like looking at the picture and thinking of the timeline and like, when Texas the original happens, he's got to be in his 20s, right? Like
Right, yeah.
Leatherface as a
I
human
think Gunner
being,
himself was, yeah.
right? So he's got to be in his 20s. So if like at what point
He's definitely not like 12.
So if he had, let's just think, if maybe the family, like somehow this orphanage kid escaped and he had all kinds of mental health problems and ended up being found by this crazy ass family. Okay, that could happen, but there's no, like, the overlap is just doesn't make
Right. So at the end of the other movie, the spoiler again, Hitcher gets killed in the original movie. The grandfather probably didn't have a lot of time left, so he's probably out of the picture. I don't think Cook dies, but anything could happen. So let's say he's without his family. How does he come upon the orphanage, and why would they take in like a grown man? Could you have shown something that? I mean, you could. I mean, it's. I don't want slasher movies don't need to be like Citizen Kane for me, but you could have had something. You could have put something there. I kind of like that it didn't. I know this is kind of a cop on my end. I just kind of found it humorous that he's just all of a sudden he's an orphan when he's a grown man at the end of the last one. But I don't know.
He has the mind of a child.
He does. I could see, like, you could have a story where this woman who does run the orphanage does found like a man child, and she wants to take care of him, takes him in. He could even be like the handyman at the
yes, that's what I was thinking.
Something like that. Yeah. Not one of the kids. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, like there are people that are not equipped as adults to care for themselves.
I want to see that
they might not be murderers, but
I want to see a prequel to this one where Leatherface is just the handyman at the orphanage.
Yes,
that would be a good sitcom.
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see that happening. That
it only would have took like a. I'm not saying show it all, but you could have had just a slight flashback to this and just a little bit of dialogue to explain that. That would have been fine.
You even need a flashback. Like she's talking about him. Well, he was a boy. Like she's saying he was a boy. They have the picture of him as a boy. Like just get rid of that. And then the audience can have these imaginings of, how did that happen?
I actually liked that. I liked her, and I like the idea that you don't really know for sure if you kind of think she actually did. She might have actually owned the house still. I'm not sure if it's a completely.
Yeah, because you end up finding the deed.
Yeah.
And it was still hers. Well, she still had the deed.
And then he's justified in wanting to kill all the people because, even not necessarily leading to the demise of her, but kicking her out of her home. So I do like that part. I just think they could have explained why he's an orphan.
They could have just not had him be an orphan.
Yeah, he's the handyman.
He could have just been a guy, even if he didn't do any handyman stuff. If she's out of the goodness of her heart,
she took him
running this orphanage, then she could see this guy in his mental state, not knowing he was a serial killer, but take him in. Even still, someone who is that level of idealism and wanting to help people could have known about his history vaguely.
Yeah. And then without her there just to keep him, content, he reverts back to his, being a maniac.
Yeah. That actually could have been really good that she found him and kept him safe. And this whole time, Sally's been nearby and there's the posters everywhere. And so she's driven to save this man child from, is this man really responsible for himself as a murderer? If this is the state of his mind and he's been around this family who's abusive and this is the way he's been trained to be, is he really at fault? Mm-hmm. So now I see all these other possibilities. Not that, like you said, this doesn't have to be Citizen Kane, but I just think of possibilities. Yeah. So yeah, that's dumb. I
will say the guy who plays Leatherface, I think does a good job.
I agree. I definitely agree.
He's got the I actually like the look of Leatherface too in the movie. I like the kind of decrepit, even the mask, it's kind of got the sadness to it. And I think there's a nice scene of him sitting on the bed when he's after the woman dies.
Yeah.
I will say the scene. So Sally is from what I understand though, they were making this movie before the Halloween movies. So There's
Yeah, so
there
what
are
kind of-
people who talk about they didn't necessarily take this from the Halloween films, but so Sally's like a badass now, and she's been waiting to kill Leatherface. There is a scene when she shows up, and she could clearly just kill Leatherface, and she doesn't, and that I will say that scene makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah, I don't think she was necessary at all.
I don't
why
mind the
would you
character. I
have her?
just think that scene was it made no sense.
She's fine, but like she's so like you could easily remove her and it wouldn't really change the story at all. Like she doesn't do anything other than try to attack him, keep the kids, keep the two girls in the car, and then like why bother? Why even bother with that unless you had developed it a little more? They really only show her very briefly once in a while throughout the film to just be like a flash of her.
Yeah, I thought she'd be a bigger part of the story when I saw her in the trailer.
Yeah, if they did that, I think that would have been great. I think it could have been really cool. So I don't know if in the editing room they're like, we don't want this to be considered a carbon copy of Halloween, because maybe it would have played like that. But people are saying it anyway, so who the hell cares? I don't know. I think it could have been good. I don't think it's a bad thing to have more than one strong female woman.
No. It's weird. I saw people saying the movie's woke because it has strong female characters, but I was like,
Really?
have you ever seen a slasher film? Oh yeah, that's all over, especially the Texas Chainsaw Group. But have you ever seen like a slasher movie? There's a reason why the final girl is a thing, because almost all of them end with the girl at the end fighting the killer. I think like Ash and Evil Dead's about the only one that doesn't.
That's
Even the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's true. I don't know. They have too many thoughts, too many thoughts. Too many thoughts. Yeah, I did think to like go to the idea of like Leatherface doesn't care who you are, what side you're on, or if you're okay with them flying the Confederate flag or not. Like he doesn't care. There's this group that comes in, the yuppies that are going to take over this old town, and then there's like just a couple of people. There's like a couple cops, a guy that lives in town who fixes cars and shit, the woman that runs the orphanage. So you've got like these two sides. And the guy that's got the mechanic shop, he's kind of dickish, but these people are dickish to him first, to be fair, and like talking shit about his truck and stuff with needlessly. Like you don't need to do that, especially if he's listening. But then you see like, so they're kind of at odds. Like this guy, he's got his job to do and he's doing it. Even if he's kind of resentful of what these people are like. But then there comes a time where the shit really hits the fan and this guy is like very heroic. And I think that's a wonderful point to make, that just because someone doesn't believe the same things as you doesn't mean they're internally this truly evil human. Like they might be different from you, but that doesn't mean human beings are nuanced and there are layers and there's things about them, and people can be good even if you don't like what they're saying, so I thought his character was pretty good.
I liked him too.
And I thought he had some reason to be not really excited about these kids who were really rude and disrespectful. The one girl, this was something that I thought was a weird thing. So there was like a sub part of the whole political thing was about guns, like this big gun thing. And one of the characters, she was younger and was kind of just, dragged along by her sister. And first of all, I got to say, I am so thrilled that someone with a female, had shitty skin, made it into a big role. I was like, yes! I was thrilled because my skin's fucked up. And so I just thought that was really impressive that they didn't have, not all the women were like the stereotypical smoking hot, flawless, fitted, sex machine.
I think that's what made the older slashers stand out too, where I think a lot of the late 90s, early 2000s, everyone looked like a model and was kind of unbelievable, where like everyone in the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, all the women are really good looking, but they're like believably good looking people.
Yeah, they're like normal people.
Yeah.
Yeah, this now that I think about it, I don't think there was any sex in this movie at all.
No.
There was like a moment where the two sisters, the one girl who I was talking about,
said he's with the
man,
guy. Yeah.
Yeah, but nothing happens. That didn't even occur to me, because that is a big part of slashers is sex in many of them. Like I mentioned, original Friday the 13th. Some times going on there. Like there's a lot in a lot of slashers. So I'm wondering if that's something people who didn't like it, that's consciously or not part of their criticism, is there's not like tits bouncing all over the place.
It could be
like the Trauma movie.
Right.
You want that? Head on over to the hashtag Shakespeare's shitstorm, because there is never a moment without something sexual happening.
They brought back John Larroquette to do the narration. I think that's the first time he's been brought back since the original movie.
I saw people criticizing that.
Yeah, I didn't understand.
Why criticize? Why, of all the things, why is that the thing anyone would pick? Is so bizarre to me. I
agree. I also don't. I don't really understand the criticism of how old Leatherface would be. Again, these are slasher movies, and that's not like a knock. I like horror movies, but we've seen like a lot of stuff that's totally unbelievable in slasher films. So the idea that a 70-year-old guy, demented guy with a chainsaw could be dangerous, I don't think is like out of the realm of believability.
No, and it's like, I guess the majority of 70-year-old people probably aren't out there being all athletic, but I mean, this is a guy who he might be the guy that's out there being athletic. And he has a physicality to him. This is a naturally
Well, we met Gunnar Hansen many times, and people listening to this have too. When we met Gunnar Hansen, I'm sure he could have beat the hell out of me, and probably most people at the convention, and he would have been the same age. So,
well, he was talking about how he had such a fascinating life, and he was talking about one point in time he was like working on ships to just see what it was like. And so he's like climbing all the rigging and stuff like that. I'm like, this is awesome. He probably wasn't 70 when he was doing it, but just to think there's some people who have been very physical all their lives, and that doesn't just wither away instantaneously. Like, people can be older and very, very
also
that
the chainsaw.
It's
true. And it still is a movie. I mean, you have to go with stuff to some degree. I enjoyed it. And I understand. I'll say I understand some people's problems with it. Some people, I do think, I did see a lot of hate for it before it was ever even out.
I was looking forward to it, as you know, so I was bummed.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I watched it with my mom, and my mom, it was probably out of the enjoyment because she was having a lot of fun just watching Leatherface killing everybody. So it was fun.
I do think seeing things with people can make a really big difference.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
So who knows what it would have been like.
I've seen people didn't like the runtime, saying it's too short, but I actually think that's the right choice usually in a slasher film. I don't think you need. This was like 80 minutes or so. I think that's fine.
What else would they put
in? Get in, get out. I would much prefer that than a movie that's obviously padded just to be like an hour and 40 minutes or something.
I mean, I just don't know what else they would have put in it. What would you have done? I don't know. I thought I was just considering, like, I feel like a lot of the time filled. I get that there's a lot of like political stuff and like good for them, I guess, but I felt like a lot of it was very tedious, as opposed to hashtag Shakespeare's shitstorm, that it was kind of critical to the film and I thought was very entertaining. I didn't find it in Texas Chainsaw. Like, was it on target? Yes, I think it was. Like, all of our human thoughts and emotions are ultimately meaningless because we're all going to die. But
Very nihilistic film.
well, it was very dark. Like like you said, like not just Leatherface doesn't care, but the idea of like death doesn't care. Like you're gonna have all of your opinions about things, and you're gonna be like, burr, 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 but you're gonna be dead. Like we all make this giant, upsetting dramas out of personality stuff, and why? To what point? To just fight when we could just be like cool to each other and do things that are logical and make sense? I don't know. So Leatherface, good for you.
And I saw somebody didn't like the end. I liked the end. I stand by it. It was good.
The end was fine. I didn't have a problem with it. I have no criticism.
I probably kind of saw it was going to happen, but
Yeah, I don't have any criticism at all. They have a criticism of like the event that happened.
The very ending, and well, some I hate
similarities
without spoiling it. No, not really similarities. Just spoiler. They had a problem with. I've seen people say they had a problem with that he lived through like getting hit with the chainsaw. And again, I'm like, have you ever seen a slasher movie? That's fine, and the idea that he killed one of the girls at the end. I thought the kill was fine.
Yeah. I thought it was fine.
Yeah.
I thought that stuff was totally fine. Yeah.
I just realized I think only one actor ever played Leatherface twice.
Who's that?
The guy's an asshole from the remake.
Oh, I don't even want to say his name.
That's sad that it wasn't like somebody cool.
Yeah, he's an asshole. Someone got really bent with me when Gunnar Hansen passed away, and that guy was just a piece of shit. And I don't know. There's people really stood by this garbage human. It's so sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Because he's an actor? Because you like him as Leatherface? He's an okay guy? I don't understand. I don't understand people, Neal. I just don't.
And I don't know if you've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre video game that's coming out.
No.
It looks really good, honestly. But it's going to be. Do you remember a few years ago when the Friday 13th one came out?
Yes.
It's made by the same people, so you can play it online. I believe the Hitchhiker's going to actually be a character you can play in it, but Leatherface is too, cool. And Grandpa will be in the movie. But they hired Kane Hodder to play. He's doing the motion capture
cool.
For Leatherface.
That's awesome.
Which I thought was very cool. Yeah,
that's very cool.
So
I heard good things about
like
that game in the beginning.
He's technically played like every slasher at some point because he was even the hand for Freddy Krueger, I believe, in the end of Jason Goes to. Is it Jason Goes to Hell? Yeah,
that's funny. I didn't know that. Wow, good for him. I think our ratings are going to be a little different.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I had fun. I think it's actually one of the more fun recent slasher films. I just had a good time. I'm going to 4. I'm going 4 severed heads on Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2022.
I'm going to give it a 2. And I think I'm being really generous with that too. I did not enjoy it.
I think I think most people will probably be in agreement with you, but I'm standing by what I thought of this movie.
Yeah, you should. I mean, I just found like none of the characters were really likable. That guy was okay.
I liked him. I didn't mind the 2 girls either.
I wouldn't like be his buddy. I think he did the right thing, which I appreciate, but I can't. I think I might have said that I liked him. I don't really like him, but he did the right thing, and I think that was cool. But I don't really like that one girl in the jean jacket with the. Yeah, but no. So I will give it a 2. It wasn't.
Want to understand the director has an idea for a sequel? I say go for it. Whatever you want to do.
I say go for it, and good luck. Another chance.
Netflix, they could put more. Apparently, they don't care about gore and stuff. So This probably would have been cut up a lot more if it was theatrically released. It's pretty gory.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of some of the other kills I really liked, but I think the end one was pretty good.
Yeah.
Honest, I thought the end one was great. What did you think about that phone thing? I've heard that some people criticizing the phones on the bus.
Oh, I actually thought that scene was fun when they take it. I mean, it's weird because I think the people that didn't like it, they wouldn't like those kind of people. But I think those kind of people exist, you know.
They do.
It's weird because like you can't expect people to act like they would in the 70s in a movie that's happening in the 2020s.
I think there are other people who have a problem with it. I know one. And they just think it's dumb. Like, I think because that person is younger, it's kind of like, are young people like, well, they're not super young in the movie, but are people of that era of digital shit everywhere and taking pictures of their phones all the time, are they really that stupid?
I don't know. You see videos of everything that happens, so probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are people who are more likely to. I'm not saying everyone on the bus would. I mean, plus it's also a movie, so you have to, you know, you can't think everything's super realistic. But you do see people videotape stuff, and you wonder, like, why are they videotaping this that I'm watching? Why didn't they call the police or something? So it does happen.
Sometimes people do call the police, and they say with some of the stuff that happened in the past couple of years, they said if you see something like dark happening, record it.
Right.
Like if someone is doing something they should not be doing, yes, you should contact, but you should also record it because then there's evidence.
Right. Well, maybe they were recording for the evidence. Gotta get this Leatherface guy.
Like the guy said, we're going to cancel you. And that didn't work out for them.
Did they live stream that? If so, no one ever shows up. He just fucking walks away.
That's right. They did live stream it because you could see all the comments scrolling about how fake it looked and everything. Yeah, but that would happen.
Yeah, but I'm saying that no authorities ever come here.
I mean, they didn't have that. That wasn't even a few hours worth of stuff that happened. Like that wasn't even a day. And the authorities, they had the cops were not going to be around, and they were in the middle of nowhere. So
stay after the credits. For anybody who's not watched it yet, or if you did watch it, go watch it and watch it after the credits.
I don't know if I saw it after the credits.
Yeah, something happens.
I'll have to find out.
I'll tell you off air.
Did that boost my rating?
Nah, probably not.
No, probably
not. It's not like this epic scene or anything, but it's kind of cool.
Any other
Middle Beyond?
Thoughts?
They're not paying me, but they make this really cool sweater.
Who made it?
Middle of Beyond.
Who were they?
Website, Middle of Beyond.
Oh. Do you know them as human beings, or you just found?
No, I've never met them. Or no, my mom got me this for Christmas.
It's pretty nice. It's pretty nice. Any more thoughts on this movie?
I just think it's a fun slasher film where if you want to see people get killed, you can see it. It's not. Is it? You're gonna. If you're gonna. If you're real, I'm not advocating movies shouldn't have stories or make sense. But if you're gonna watch, if you want to watch something that's like is telling like this great tale, you can probably watch something else. But if you want to sit back and just have a good fun time watching a killer, I say it's good.
Suspense free.
It's just a lot of slaughtering.
It is. It is. So yeah, definitely, as always, like watch for yourself. It's definitely any kind of rating is not like don't watch it. It's
right. Well, I have seen that. I saw this meme going around that it's a dumb movie for dumb people, and I was like, come on, man.
That's a little rude. It's a little much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm smart. I can do things. So yeah, I say see it. Annabelle,
I say see it too.
All right. Yeah.
They may not like it. They might love it.
Right.
That's for you to decide.
Exactly. All right. Well, this was fun to do.
It was very fun to
We'll
do.
have to do
I'm
this
glad,
once in a
I'm
while.
glad we decided to try this
Yeah.
as an alternative because you know what? Gas is expensive. COVID makes restaurants difficult, and what the hell?
Yeah.
Very
There's some,
comfortable.
yeah. Then going forward, if I get a lot of screeners, something stands out, or when there's cool things that pop up on the streaming sites.
I agree. I agree totally. I would like even shorts and things like that. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
this
that'd be
is a good venue for us to be doing some more stuff.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of shorts coming up, Severed Limbs Film Festival.
people are not as familiar with Without Your Head. This is Without Your Head produced online film festivals.
Right.
If you are an independent horror or weird filmmaker, then Neal, I'm sure, can put a link into this YouTube.
Yeah.
You know where all the links go.
Right.
And yeah, check it out. Look into it. It's just getting. I think from having been around some of them, I think it just has a lot of potential. It's free to enter your stuff. So if you want to get some content out there, check it out. I know that there's going to be, you might not get your stuff in, but you can at least try, and it's not going to cost you anything to submit it.
And if you have any ideas for future dinner to movies, now that we're doing it, we're going to do some this way. Contact either of us
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook, email.
Contact Neal.
All right, well,
I don't
contact
look at any
me.
of my messages.
So,
So I've got like messages.
because there's so many streaming movies. Sometimes they might fly under the radar,
It's true.
and we don't know about it. Say, hey, this is something I think you guys should check out. Send it over, and maybe it'll pop up here on the show. And we
Very
like to, it's cool to talk about the big movies, but it would be cool to put a spotlight on something that people might not know about, like this
Speaking of that-
Amityville in space that's coming out.
Is there really?
Yeah, this Amityville in space.
That I'll look forward to. I was also, while you're pulling it up, going to add that we do these reviews, but there's also written reviews, which are pretty amazing. If you go to withoutyourhead.com, you can find there's like a ton of different people, probably like 5 different people, a veritable ton. And there's some really, really great reviews of a lot of the independent stuff that you might not hear about otherwise. Check those out. It's great to be able to have that. Yeah. So all kinds of ways to find out what's going on in the horror world.
Diablo Joe,
Yes.
Andrew Buckner,
Mm-hmm.
Leatherface Dan Yeager,
That's very cool.
and Slashly Ashley.
That's a great name.
Ashley Turner.
Very, very cool.
I like Slashly.
I like that. And legitimate about Dan Yeager. That's a true thing. He's
Yeah,
really
Dan
good.
Yeager.
They're really good.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That's special.
Amityville in space. Kind of looks like, I don't know if you're familiar with Ego from Marvel Comics. He's like the planet that eats people or something, but looks kind of like him.
Is that something in the movies or in the comics?
Comics. But I think it's actually in one of the movies too. But all right, so we'll be back. Until next time, this is Nasty Neal.
And this is Annabelle Lecter.
And this was Dinner.
And a movie.
Neal and Annabelle's dinner and a movie.